All right, everybody, welcome. We want to welcome everybody attending today's webinar. So glad you could join us. My name is Jeff Odom. I'm with the Florida Association of Insurance Agents. We sponsor the InVEST program here in the state of Florida. We are glad each and every one of you are here. A little bit about GoToWebinar before we get started. If you're not familiar with it, you'll see, it should be on your right, a question pane. And if you don't see that question pane and all you see is a little box, there's a red arrow that you can click and the question pane will appear. Well, at the bottom, there is a place that you can type in a comment. And so if you have any comments throughout today's broadcast, just type those in there. And then the most important part, don't forget to click send. Because if you don't click send, then we don't receive it here in the beautiful FAI webinar studios in Tallahassee, Florida. So make sure you do that. And also, I'll give you my email address toward the end if you want to email me, or Lindsay will put hers up there. We'll have ways that you can contact us after today's broadcast. Now, don't forget, we are recording today's broadcast. So if you have somebody in your agency or somebody in your school that wants to hear this but was not able to today, we'll broadcast a way that they can do that, or they can contact us and we'll show them how to get the recording. Now, we have it scheduled for 2 hours, and it probably won't go 2 hours. We just, we did a block for 2 hours, so we're not going to take a break, but I doubt it goes 2 hours. So don't worry about it. If you got to step away or something, we'll still be here going at it. So I'm going to stop talking, and we are so glad that Lindsay Shank has joined us today for the InVEST broadcast. And I'm going to let Lindsay introduce herself and tell everybody who she is, what she does, and her background with the InVEST program. So Lindsay, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm very excited to be here in Tallahassee. I came up from St. Petersburg to be part of the Teach the Teacher webinar in the FAIA office, so we can make sure that this was recorded properly for those that aren't able to join. There we go. Make sure we get our slides moving forward. A little bit about myself. We have used to do these Teach the Teacher presentations in person. So sad that we can't be together doing it, but it has been a few years since we've even had one. So I'm very excited that we have the opportunity to do this in a webinar format, because again, it's been a while and it's just really good information. And I think the time is right to do a refresh on what is InVEST, how can you get that going within a high school in your area and or within your insurance agency or insurance company that you work with. So I currently work at Hull & Company as the operations leader in St. Petersburg. Been in the insurance industry for 22 years, and it is purely as a result of being an InVEST student back in 1999 at St. Pete Catholic High School. Taking InVEST really got me my introduction into insurance as a career. Started at an agency for what I thought would only be 3 months of the summer, and fast forward to 2021, and I'm still working in the industry. Over that time, I have served as the FAIA InVEST Task Force Chair. I'm currently in my last few days of the InVEST National Board Chair, and I work locally in St. Petersburg with Northeast High School's InVEST program, help coordinate the program for them in working with the teacher, and also have done some guest speaking at the high school with their InVEST class. Also, even though I'm in Tallahassee, I felt it was important, and I also just felt awkward if I didn't include a picture of my dog Scout on the presentation. While I have been working remotely over the past, like most of us, year and a half or so, any time that I have been doing at-home presentations with my teammates, I always like to introduce my dog because at some point during the presentation, I know he's going to make himself known. So just felt odd doing this presentation and not including a picture of him, but he is not here with me in Tallahassee, so hopefully you won't hear any barking coming.
Lindsay, I'm glad you clarified that. I didn't want people to think that was a picture of me up there with you.
Thank
you for
Yeah.
clarifying that.
So yes, that is Scout enjoying the backyard down in St. Pete, and I'm sure he's making himself heard at home, even though he won't be for this presentation. So again, just very excited. Thank you all for taking the time to be with us this morning, to hear a little bit more about InVEST and see how you personally can be involved with it. A little bit about the agenda for this morning. As Jeff mentioned, we are recording this webinar, so there will be future viewing opportunities by any teachers, any insurance professionals that weren't able to join us today but still want to hear about what InVEST can do for them and how they can be involved with it. Throughout this presentation, we'll do a little bit background as far as what is InVEST, what it looks like, how it can be implemented into a high school setting. We'll talk about the involvement from a few different players, from our high school teachers, from our insurance professionals that serve as our volunteers in the classroom, and the InVEST students themselves. We will hear a little bit from National InVEST, as well as the website and curriculum resources that they have available. Very happy that Deborah Pickford is able to join us and be on this call, and she'll talk a little bit about what's been happening at the National InVEST level. Also, we'll touch on the scholarship programs that are available for students that take the InVEST class. I think the scholarship is such a great feature of the program that the students can have an opportunity to apply for scholarship money if they are interested in pursuing insurance as a career option. Since we aren't in person, I asked for some testimonials from a few of our InVEST friends. In the past, when we had these Teach the Teachers as one-day sessions, we would hear from some of those people in person about what they do with InVEST, why they keep being involved with InVEST, but still felt that that was important to try to capture that and have it in the webinar format this morning. And then once we end, any dialogue, any questions that you all have. We do have everybody's lines muted on this webinar, but please use that questions box if you do have any questions or comments along the way, and we can certainly address those as we go. All right. Before we begin the information for the actual webinar, wanted to see if we could just get a little bit of feedback from those people that are on the call. So if you can comment, and it should say in the questions box, not so much the chat box. But first question is wanting to know from the attendees that are on the call, if you are an insurance professional or if you are a high school teacher, just so we can get a little feel for the people we have on the call this morning. So insurance professional or a high school teacher.
And let me remind everybody to do that. If you're not familiar with GoToWebinar, you go to the question pane and go to the comment box and type that in there, then click send. So it looks like so far, Lindsay, it's going to be a lot of insurance professionals.
Very good. Which is an incredibly important role in the InVEST program as well, because really it's that partnership between the high schools that are doing the InVEST program and our insurance professionals that can really bring that real life experience into the classroom. So happy to see our insurance pros on the call this morning. And then second question, and this will be the last one, if you can share what your InVEST experience is. Are you brand new or are you a veteran of the insurance program? Welcome, Joseph. Shannon, new-ish.
Yeah, it's good to see a lot of people that are putting new in there. We're glad that you joined us because we're always looking for new volunteers around the state. Of course, we want to take up the whole state with the InVEST program, and there's pockets of the state that we always need to reinforce, especially up here in the Panhandle. I know the program's real strong from Orlando south, but the Jacksonville area, we're starting to get some work done there. And of course, the Panhandle, we used to have some schools, but we need to get some schools going in the Panhandle area. But South Florida has always been strong with the program. So we're glad to have the newer people. And of course, I see some names on here that have been in the business for a while. We're glad to have you too. So go ahead, Lindsay.
Absolutely. And Joseph and Shannon, if we could just have you comment in the questions box, just so we kind of know, what area are you all from? What kind of geographic location are you in? City, county, anything like that? Deerfield Beach. Okay, perfect.
So another South Florida. So
Okay.
oh, there's a Tampa, and that's good because well, you're from the Tampa area. You're from St. Pete, and there's always additional schools that could be involved in the InVEST program.
Wonderful.
So good. I'm glad and once again, South Florida and Central Florida is represented.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much. Just good to hear that from the audience, just so we know, even though I know we could get that from the registration details as well. But thank you for sharing as we kick this off. Okay, so a little background. What is InVEST? Kind of the history and fast forwarding to where we are with the program today. InVEST has actually been around for many, many years. It was founded back in 1970 out in California. A group of local agents in the Los Angeles area actually put their heads together and came up with the InVEST program, really with the main focus at that time just to create better insurance consumers. It has really morphed and still keeps that as its mission for just educating students about insurance, making them better educated of purchasing decisions, knowing what their policy does, knowing how claims are handled. But we have expanded that over the years into also trying to open students' eyes about the career opportunities within the insurance industry. Whether it is at the independent agency system, whether it's with an insurance company. Sometimes some InVEST students find employment with other vendors that are related to insurance. So that's really where the program has grown from just focusing on consumer education to still wanting to do that, but also trying to bring that career exploration into the picture. We also, through the InVEST program, work with our high schools, and you also see InVEST in some of our community colleges, and I know in Florida, we're now calling them state colleges, to really try to pair students up with internship possibilities, even job shadows or field trips. So the students can really see firsthand what working in an insurance agency could look like, what working at an insurance company could look like, to really paint that picture for them. So not only are they hearing about it in the classroom setting, but they can actually see it for themselves. The other great thing about InVEST, as we're trying to make better consumers in insurance and also try to bring some talent into our insurance workforce, National InVEST provides free for high schools that are doing InVEST. It is no cost to them. The curriculum is provided to them free of charge by National InVEST. We also try to encourage our insurance professionals to serve as guest speakers in the classroom to really give that hands-on, real life, this is what I see and do in insurance on a daily basis, discussion and dialogue with the students. I also think it's great because it allows the students an opportunity to network with business professionals, perhaps create mentorships that could benefit them in the future. And then also InVEST can provide other resources for educators and, of course, then students in the classroom. We'll hear in a little bit on the National InVEST front what some of those other resources are. A lot of them are housed on the National InVEST website, and those are great things that the teachers can have access to, again, free of charge and bring into their InVEST classroom. The result of all of this, when you have a high school that is doing the InVEST program, when you have the support of your insurance professionals in the local community, is we create students that are newly educated in insurance, but can also serve as great recruits for us in the insurance industry. Those knowledgeable insurance consumers in the insurance industry, we get a better reputation within that local area where the high school is. And it also gets the high school and the local area exposure on a national basis, since National InVEST and Big I are such supporters of the InVEST program. The InVEST mission, as we kind of mentioned on the previous slide, is really to educate, prepare, and attract diverse young people to new and exciting opportunities and career paths in the insurance industry. So still giving that education to them, but also trying to attract them to our industry, but also preparing them to be good workforce candidates when they come out of the InVEST program and are looking for job opportunities, hopefully in insurance. Why InVEST? It is really a rewarding experience for educators, for students, and also the insurance professionals that become involved with those InVEST high schools. For the student perspective, it can help young people succeed by getting some insurance education. It provides free resources for those educators. And as we mentioned on the agenda slide, the great scholarship opportunities. Not really sure how many other high school classes that a student can take where they get additional scholarship opportunities like they do through the InVEST program. So really kind of just enhancing the students' learning, allowing the teacher to be more involved in the students' learning with some of those resources that National InVEST brings to the table, and also that partnership with your local insurance support and professionals to really just make a very enhanced educational experience for the InVEST program in that high school. On the other side, when you're talking about us from the insurance field, since that's what most of us live on the call are from, it helps our insurance agencies and our insurance companies that are involved grow and succeed because we are training a new generation of young professionals. And hopefully, if you have an opening in your agency or company and you're involved with InVEST, you might be able to kind of pick some talent from your InVEST high school and bring them into your organization and have them grow and help not only themselves, but your organization at the same time. Also, just a really good feel back to be able to go into a high school, talk with young people about what is insurance, and then insurance is a career path, and just good to be out in the community doing those things when you're involved with the InVEST classroom. Some of you may have been noticing, if you follow InVEST either on the website or on some of the social media platforms, we have a new look as of 2020, but still keeping that same purpose, the same mission with InVEST as we always had since its start back in 1970. So last year, and now moving this logo forward, do have a different look, different colors, so different branding. On the National InVEST stage, we spent a lot of time and research going through what this new look and logo and feel for InVEST would be. Lots and lots of market research with InVEST teachers, with InVEST students, lots of discussion at the national board level to get to this new brand for InVEST. But just since we do have some seasoned insurance professionals that have been involved with InVEST, and then, of course, our new friends as well, wanted to just point out the new look and feel for InVEST, different color scheme, but really just still incorporating that same mission and drive that InVEST has, just with a different brand and feel. As mentioned, and with most of us on the call that work in the insurance industry, we know very well that the insurance industry now and also in the near future is needing talent. Have some of the statistics up here on the slide. I won't run through any of them or all of them with you because, again, you probably know in your own organization what your need for talent is. With the growth that we're having with some of our organizations, you might need to bring new people on just to keep up with the demand. Also, with the retirements that are happening in a lot of our agencies and companies, not only throughout Florida, but throughout the country, there is also that need and that talent gap, if you will. When we go into our high schools, we always love to talk about insurance as a career path. A lot of times we'll do career days in some of our InVEST high schools where we bring in a wide variety of jobs from the insurance industry. And the one thing I like to say when I'm in Northeast High School and talking to their InVEST students is that no matter what your passion is and what you are strong in doing, there is probably a job somewhere in the insurance industry for you. I tell them maybe not in St. Petersburg, Florida, but somewhere in the insurance industry, whether it's an agency, a company, a wholesaler, another vendor, what you like to do and what you really excel at doing, you can probably find a job somewhere in the insurance industry that meets and correlates with that. So, really, just telling that story in a way that we can open those InVEST students' eyes to considering insurance as a career path, because I venture to say that most high school students sitting in the classes now aren't really thinking, yeah, let me go be an insurance agent or a manager or an underwriter or a claims rep once I get out of high school. But such great opportunities exist in the industry, and just getting the opportunity to tell that story to the students and try to engage them and encourage them to consider insurance.
The thing about that, Lindsay, that's a good point. When I have gone into the schools, the thing about when you tell a high school student about the insurance uh, industry, they immediately think they're going to have to go knock on doors. And I think they think of the old debit agent where they knock on doors and collect money, and you're always just asking people to buy insurance. Well, that's part of being an agent, of course, but
Sure.
they don't understand the wide field of insurance.
Yes.
Everything, if I remember some students saying, well, I like IT, I like computers, where there's a field for them in the insurance industry with computers.
Yeah, we definitely need our technology to
and
operate.
investigations. And so that's one of the things that the InVEST program does a good job of, letting them know it isn't just being an insurance agent. There's a whole field of opportunity there for the student.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. That's such a good point. And again, just telling that story and getting the opportunity to be in front of those high school students through the InVEST classroom to have the opportunity to tell that story is very important. The other piece that we have been trying to make some inroads with, and I think in certain areas around Florida, we have better success, but is even partnering with the InVEST High School, our insurance professionals in that area. And then if you happen to have a university or a state college that is offering insurance courses to their students, just kind of having that as a network. So everybody has the same, thought in mind of bringing new talent into the insurance industry. So, if you are in an area where there is a state college or university that has an insurance or risk management, and that sounds a little sexier than insurance sometimes, really encourage you to develop a relationship with them, because I really feel that those InVEST high schools can serve as feeders into those higher education programs at the state college or at the university. I know in St. Pete with the Northeast High School, we've been trying to do that with St. Pete College, and we've had conversations, but it really hasn't taken off in the way that we would dream it would. But still, great opportunity to keep chipping away at that relationship, and hopefully that will help with exposing more students at the high school and at the college level to insurance as a career path. All right. So our InVEST involvement, as mentioned in the agenda slide, a few different people when it comes to how are you involved with the InVEST program. We have our teachers, we have our insurance professionals, and then we have our students. So from the teacher standpoint, when you are, with most of us being on the call from the insurance industry, if you're working with a teacher at a high school, and sometimes the conversation even could start with somebody in the admin department at the high school. Usually it's just wherever you can get that in. With InVEST teachers, we really encourage them to start an InVEST program within the classes that they teach. And that InVEST program, we'll talk in a few slides, can be very flexible based on what the teacher is already doing. A lot of our InVEST high schools that offer the InVEST curriculum don't do it as a standalone class. They have it embedded with an existing and typically business class that they're already teaching. And when they get to that chapter or time, if you will, on insurance, they're using the InVEST curriculum and the InVEST resources and the insurance professionals for that insurance topic within a program or within a class, that they are already instructing. But then we do have some high schools that do InVEST, and they have it as a standalone class, whether it is for a semester or for a full school year. The class that I volunteer with at Northeast High School, those students in their junior year, from August when they start until May when they finish, are doing InVEST every single day. So that's not the typical. So it really can be flexible with what the needs of are the teacher and how they can kind of fit that best into the classes that they are teaching. We really do encourage our high school teachers to interact with our insurance professionals. We just see that the most successful InVEST classes and really InVEST experience for the students happens when you have that partnership with the high school instructor and the insurance professionals that can serve as guest speakers, that can serve as mentors, that can host field trips. Just when you have that partnership, it just translates into better experiences for the students. We also encourage our InVEST teachers to be involved by using the National InVEST resources. We'll hear from Deborah in just a few minutes on kind of what those resources are available for the teachers, but those are free. They're things that are already put together for the teachers that they can easily implement into their classroom. And we really do encourage our teachers to use those resources that National has spent so much time perfecting.
So, Lindsay, let you repeat that because I've been asked before by teachers in schools, how much does it cost to start the InVEST program? And you just said the program material is free.
Absolutely. No cost to them whatsoever. A little bit of time, if you will, to really kind of look at what's available on the website, determine how to implement that into the class. But absolutely, from a dollar standpoint, $0 for a teacher or a school to use those resources, which I think is a wonderful opportunity for those for those teachers to use InVEST in their classroom at zero cost to them. Also, the teachers can customize their InVEST program. As I just mentioned, it could just be a curriculum enhancement in a course that they're already teaching, or they could choose to do the InVEST curriculum for an entire semester or an entire school year. It is customizable to what is going to work best for the teacher and that school. Again, as mentioned, with interacting with the insurance professionals, we really do encourage guest speakers to help the teachers and to come into the classroom and just really give that real world experience to the students, and a great opportunity just for those students to then network with the teachers. Obviously, in the past 15 months, that guest speaker role has looked a little bit different, with a lot of the schools being remote or not allowing guests onto their campus. But we have heard and seen some of our existing InVEST schools have been able to virtually bring in guest speakers. So the students can still have that benefit and have that experience, but using the technology that we have been becoming so used to over the past 15 or so months. So it has been great that even though the students might not be able to see the guest speaker in person, they can still have that benefit through the virtual guest speaking opportunities. And then kind of along those lines, as things start to change within the school environment and within our business environment, we really do love to see InVEST schools that can do job shadows or field trips out to a local agency, out to a company, because it really just kind of then puts those things that the students have been hearing in the classroom into actual practice, because they can see what a real life agency looks like. They can see some of the jobs that are out there at the agency through that job shadow and or field trip. Just a great way to enhance that experience for the students. As we look as our insurance professionals, which most of us on the call are, ways that you can be involved with InVEST by volunteering at an InVEST school, and might even need to back that up to finding an InVEST school. If you have a relationship with a local high school in your area and kind of have that would welcome the opportunity to expand InVEST to more high schools around the state of Florida. So kind of making that connection and then hopefully being able to volunteer at the InVEST school is one way that you can get involved. Working with the InVEST teacher to actually create the schedule for the InVEST curriculum and even find guest speakers. There are some schools that only want one or two guest speakers to come in, but then you might have other schools that want a guest speaker every day, every other day. So a lot of the times the insurance professionals can help, because the high school teacher doesn't know sometimes who to reach out to from the insurance world to come in and be guest speakers. But we can be involved and help that process, whether it's people that we know in our own agency or company, or acquaintances that we have just throughout the local industry that we can bring in and work with those students and talk with those students. Again, being a guest speaker in the classroom, hosting a job shadow or field trip when that is available to happen, and then really just serving as a mentor for the classroom. I have a couple people that I used to work with that didn't really want to go into the class and talk to 16 and 17-year-olds about insurance for an hour straight, but they were there to answer questions that came up via email or via call from the teacher. When the teacher was talking with the students himself, and something came up that he didn't know how to answer, he reached back out to that person at the agency I was at to say, hey, this came up in conversation. Can you tell me how I should address it with the students? So there's ways, even if you can't be in front of the students or just choose to not be in front of the students, that you could still be involved with the program and with the high school teachers as well.
Now, Liz, I hope I didn't miss you saying this, but when you're talking about the teachers, I know I have experience with some schools that have taught InVEST on a year-round basis from beginning to end, and there are other schools that will teach it as part of kind of a business academy that they have. In your experience, I'm sorry. Thank you, Nicole. Nicole said they couldn't hear me. Thank you, Nicole. I didn't have my volume up. Let me repeat what I was about to say. Thank you, Nicole. I said, I hope I didn't miss this when you were talking about the teachers, but some schools that I've been familiar with have taught the InVEST program on a year-round basis. And then some will teach it as part of some kind of business academy that they do. So what do you find in your experiences talking to schools? How many do a year-round? And that's why some schools say, I don't know if we can do InVEST year-round. And I know the program that you came out of taught it from August till May or April, and very successful. But there are some schools that will teach it just for about 9 weeks or maybe less.
Sure.
So what's your experience as far as the schools that you know of? How long do they teach it? What part of the semester do they teach it in? Comment on that.
Yeah, good point. Thank you for mentioning that. And I will kind of give my feedback, but then we have Deborah coming up from National on the next slide. So I'd be curious to see too if she might be able to address that question on more of a national scope with what some of the schools doing InVEST and how they roll it out. Throughout Florida, and whether it's current schools or ones that have been offering InVEST in the past 5 years or so, I would say that the majority of your high schools are doing it just as a quote unquote curriculum enhancement, where it is something that's being embedded into a course that is already in existence. I've heard a few schools that do it as a personal finance course and have the insurance and InVEST curriculum on a 4 to 6 week basis at times. Others that do it on maybe just a 3-week basis. So I would probably say it's more typical to do it as a curriculum enhancement, if you will, versus the full semester or full school year. Now, on the other side of that, I will say that probably your more enhanced learning for the student and the more benefits that the students are going to get is probably coming from those that are more a semester-long program or a year-long program. And the one thing that we see in those courses that are either semester or year-long is that it's not only the insurance education and instruction that is done, but then the school and the students typically do like an agency simulation in the classroom where they set up mock agencies and they sell, quote unquote, auto insurance to their peers. So they can really put into practice what they learned through the first couple months and then kind of run an agency. So to make that a real life hands-on learning experience, you see that more in the semester or year-long programs that most high schools that are doing it just on a 2, 3, 4-week basis don't usually have the time to implement that simulation program.
We have on the call Nicole, who is our current InVEST chairman for FAIA, and she works with some schools in the South Florida area, and she commented that they are broken up during the year. As far as the InVEST program, they're broken up during the year, and it's 8 classes over about a 10-week period or so. So it's going to be different for every school. I
Mhm.
think when, like I said, I mentioned it earlier, when you went to St. Pete Catholic
Mhm.
and they did a whole year, that's very rare, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
At least I would say in Florida. And I think when Deborah, when we unmute her and have her do a few of the next slides, I would probably say that that's probably rare throughout the country
Okay.
as well. Ideally, I think that's what we would love to have, because then you can add in some of those pieces that you can't do in a more shortened time frame. But I think just the ability to have the InVEST program, even if it is just on a couple week basis within high schools, is a great way to start. And then too, maybe the high school can expand that, maybe add on a week or do something a little bit different and extra within the class. The other thing that it just got me thinking, which I don't think I've really mentioned throughout the previous slides, is you also have the flexibility with what sort of insurance you want to teach the students and talk with the students about. Most of our traditional InVEST high school classes focus on personal auto insurance, since the audience of students that we're working with are 16, 17-year-olds. They've just gotten their license. They're probably being yelled at by their parents for how much that's now costing to add them to their auto insurance. So since that's something that's very relatable to the
And they're
16,
interested
17,
in that, right?
yes, and we hope they should be, so they can learn, what claims can do to the cost of the insurance. So that's usually been the focus for most of the insurance classes, is the personal auto. But on the national curriculum and resources that are available, there's also information on homeowners insurance, on renters insurance, on life and health, and also business insurance. So if high schools did want to explore the commercial side of insurance, they have those resources available through national as well. And I know Northeast that I work with, they mostly do focus on the personal auto insurance, but they have been doing a little bit of commercial experience or exposure, if you will, because the students are so interested in running their own business one day and owning their own business. So the InVEST teacher there thought, well, gosh, I should talk with them then about what type of commercial policies they may need if they are running their own business in the future.
Yeah, I've been told by some of our InVEST volunteers that they'll get some companies that they represent through their agency to come out there. And some of the things that the students love to hear is adjuster stories. They'll have an adjuster come out there and tell stories, and they'll show pictures of crashes, things to get the kids very excited. And it's relatable back to the auto insurance. But it doesn't just have to be an agent come out there and tell them what it is, and it's useful. They need to do that, but they love to hear stories about claims, and they
Yes.
love to hear about company operations, how the company does certain things. So it doesn't have to just be an agent that comes out there. You can get a local adjuster to come out there. They love to hear that stuff.
Very, very true. I've also seen, and this happened more at St. Pete Catholic when I was a student, and then a few years after that, we even invited our police department and our county sheriff to come out and talk about the implications of tickets that you might get when you're behind the wheel, or accidents, and the dreaded DUI that shouldn't happen at that age anyway, but how those things can implicate your auto insurance. We also had a connection with a local hospital, so we had a trauma nurse come out and just talk about those things. So although not directly insurance related, it still kind of folds into the industry.
The teachers that are listening here, or that will listen to a recorded version, you don't have to worry about, what am I going to talk about? I mean, the material that InVEST supplies the teachers, it is top notch. But don't worry about going out from that material to get an adjuster to talk to them, or talk about claims, or talk about other aspects, even things that interest the kids, or investigations, how they will go out and investigate how this crash happened, or we've even had teachers have the legal side of it, how the legal side of it affects the insurance. So yeah, don't worry about. There's plenty to talk about if you're a teacher when it comes to the InVEST program. Insurance is so. Even if you stuck with the auto, it is such a wide array of topics that you can talk about.
Yeah, that is such a great point. Thank you. Okay, so Oh yeah, and so my students that to wrap up this conversation on the InVEST involvement, some of the things that we've already kind of touched upon, but some of the benefits that the students will get from an InVEST involvement is having more enriched and hands-on learning. It's going to be beyond textbook learning in most cases and in most InVEST classrooms. They are going to come away with real life knowledge of the insurance industry. Even if they don't go into the insurance industry as a career, they're going to just have some useful and usable insurance knowledge that they can take with them to help from the consumer standpoint. It also gives the students that opportunity to network with insurance and business professionals, which will help them no matter what career path they go into, will help them if they do go on to college, but just how to talk with a grown up, if you will, in a business setting. That's one area that I think the students can definitely benefit from the InVEST involvement. For those students that are interested in exploring insurance as a career field, it does present them with job opportunities. As I mentioned, it's how I got my role in insurance. I had called one of our InVEST volunteers at St. Pete Catholic when I was getting ready to graduate from high school. She actually did my mock interview before we did our agency simulation. And I asked her if there was any jobs in her agency for the summer. And she actually said, hey, I remember you from that mock interview we did back a few months ago. Come out on Monday, we'll get you started. So at 17 years old, just graduating from high school, I was able to walk into an agency and work there for what was 3 months and then turned into 20 years. So having those job and career opportunities is a great perk for our InVEST students. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the scholarship program in a few slides, but just a huge benefit that the InVEST students have the opportunity on a national level, on a state level through FAIA, and quite possibly on a local level through our insurance professionals to win some scholarship dollars as well.
Let me say something, Lindsay, while I'm thinking about it when it comes to students. Those of you out there, the teachers, uh, if you have a classroom full of students that would love to get involved and see certain aspects of the insurance industry, of course, I mentioned earlier I work for the Florida Association of Insurance Agents, who sponsors the InVEST program in Florida. And what we do every January, February, depending on when the legislature is in session, we have what we call Capital Days. And that is where we invite all our member agents up to Tallahassee to learn about the upcoming issues that the legislature will be discussing involving insurance. And we set up where the agents meet with their local representatives, their state senators, their state reps, and discuss the issues. We have a social event the night before we do this. And so we want to open this up to any classrooms out there that if you want to bring your students up to Tallahassee to witness this, to get involved in this, we will be glad to have you. And like I said, the next time we do Capital Days is in January. And I believe that is, it's the 24th through 26th, 2022. It's a 3-day event, but you don't have to do 3 days, of course. Just one day would be fine. But if you would like to do that, we would be glad to have you. We've never done this before, so we are going to plan this as we get some feedback from schools. But if you would like to bring some students up here for Capital Days, you can go to our website, FAIA.com, Florida Association of Insurance Agents. It's FAIA.com, and you can look on our website. Just look up Capital Days, and you can read all about it. Then if you're interested in bringing a group of kids up here as a field trip, I know things are a little different nowadays and you may not be able to do that. But if you would like to do that, you can contact me. I'm Jeff Odom, O-D-O-M. My email address here is the letter J, Odom, O-D-O-M, at FAIA.com. So if you would like to know more about that, or you're interested in bringing some kids up here to experience Capital Days and talk to a local rep or talk to a local senator about and hear about insurance issues and just really see how the process is handled. just contact me. I'll be glad to help you set that up. So, sorry, Lindsay.
No, that's
I'll give it back to you then.
No, that is fantastic information. And I think such a great opportunity for our InVEST high schools, teachers, and certainly the students to be able just to have that opportunity to be in Tallahassee. And just like you said, Jeff, I think seeing how the whole legislative process works. I had not been to a Capitol Day for it had been a long time since I was involved in it. And then about, I think 6 or 7 years ago, I went to my first one and was just blown away with the entire process. And it opened my eyes so much to what really does happen with the legislative issues that we're trying to get across from an insurance industry. And it was just such a neat experience. So I think the students at the high school level would really benefit from being part of that.
Yeah, those of you that are teachers that don't really know what FAIA is like I said, it's the Florida Association of Insurance Agents. We're a state association, and we represent independent insurance agents. So you can go to our website if you want to know more about it, or you can contact me either way. But we'd be glad to have you if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, so I hope to maybe see some high schools and some students up at Capitol Days, because I think it would be just a great experience for the students to hear the legislative piece of it and have that networking with the insurance industry, and excited. So hopefully we can get some InVEST students up here in January to Tallahassee and be part of that. Hope to see you. Okay. All right. Miss Deborah, I'm going to unmute your line in just a second, and then we will transition just a few slides that we have set up that talk about the National InVEST program and some of the curriculum, the resources, the websites that National InVEST puts together and allows our InVEST teachers to access, again, free of charge. It's just a very tremendous and rich resources that National does provide to our high schools and our state and community colleges that do the InVEST classes.
And when you say national, I'm trying to I'm trying to think how the teachers think during this webinar, because they don't really.
Yeah, what's that insurance jargon that you're using?
So when I say the Florida Association of Insurance, that's a state level. We have a national level outside of DC, and that's who Deborah works with.
Yes.
And they cover all the state associations. So when you hear us say national, that's what we're talking about.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, for some of that background. And Deborah and Marco, who are the two national InVEST staff, do work with our national association. They are housed in Alexandria, Virginia, and they cover a lot of territory. So they work with many insurance or InVEST high schools and state and community colleges throughout the country, just trying to spread the word, get more schools that are offering InVEST. And then behind the scenes, just making sure that those resources and curriculum are the best of the best. So we do have those great resources for the students in the classroom settings. So I'm going to unmute.
So Deborah, you should be able to talk now. Are you there?
It's now showing on my side, Deborah, that you might be self-muted.
Yeah, you got to unmute yourself, Deborah. You might want to go on, Lindsay, while we're waiting for her. So,
okay.
Deborah, if you can hear me, you just go ahead and talk whenever you start, but it says you have to unmute on your side. But we'll go on.
Sure. Okay, so as mentioned, the National InVEST, there are two staff members presently. So Deborah Pickford serves, I think she's there. No, I mean, we understand technology issues still this day with our webinars.
You are correct, Deborah. You are correct.
No, we'll let you know if anything comes through on the question or chat box. But just Deborah, thank you so much for taking the time to not only be on this webinar with us this morning, but doing the presentation on National Invest. It is incredible what the National Invest staff does, not only what you're seeing, but just the work that they do behind the scenes for all of the Invest schools that they work with and the teachers that they work with. And even beyond that, just trying to always look forward to make sure that curriculum and resources are up to date, are relevant, and very useful in the high school and state or community college setting. It's just tremendous work that you all do on behalf of the industry and the education world as well.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah, for joining.
Okay. Also, wanted to just make mention for those in the insurance industry, and certainly too for any of our high school students, would really encourage you. Marco with National Invest, who is their communications coordinator, does a lot of posting on various social media sites. I know he has a National Invest Facebook that he puts info out on, Twitter. There is a LinkedIn account as well. But I think it's a great feature, number one, to know what's happening at the national level with the InVEST program, but also some really relevant things that are happening within the insurance industry that might be great topics within the InVEST classroom that you could bring in to share with the students. So I would encourage you to find those on social media if you do not follow them currently, and do a like or follow or whatever it is, depending on whatever platform you're on, so you can just kind of stay in the loop with, again, not only insurance or InVEST knowledge, but insurance happenings as well that might be applicable to use within the classroom. And thank you again, Deborah. Okay, so some of this on the slide we have talked about already, but just to recap, that InVEST really can be tailored to fit any school and teacher schedule. As Deborah just mentioned, in the national resources and curriculum that's available, there are 12 different chapters, with each of those chapters having a lesson plan, discussion questions, quizzes, different games, and certainly just the knowledge and instruction pieces that are needed for the classroom. That ebook that's there and available for the students as well has been especially helpful in the past year when so many of the schools went to remote or did do a blend of in-person teaching and remote teaching. I have heard a few teachers talk about how great that ebook was, and really all of the InVEST curriculum that's available on the website, because it was already there digitalized that they could just incorporate into their classroom. You heard about that comparative rater, the agency management software, just different tools that are real life in the insurance industry that InVEST does allow the classroom to use on kind of a training or mock basis, but it still allows the students that opportunity to see in a setting what it really does look like live in an insurance office. As we mentioned, those insurance volunteers can help students. And I think hearing from Deborah about those schools up in the New York area, not only on the insurance topics, but just those soft skills that are going to help them no matter where they go in their next chapter, whether that's insurance, we hope, or wherever their life may take them. Some of those skills that they might learn in their InVEST class can really help better prepare them for their future and the next encounters that they have. As you heard, our schools do have the opportunity to incorporate InVEST into a current business class or a finance class. In the past, I've heard some teachers even put it into a math class or an economics class. So, there's no right or wrong as to where that InVEST curriculum may fit. Or you could have those schools that do it for a full semester or a year. And then certainly those additional InVEST enhancements that you can add into the classroom, as we discussed, bringing in different industries, different guest speakers, trying to do different field trips, coming up to Tallahassee for Capitol Days, just additional things that you can implement into the classroom and can be very, flexible based on what works with that high school and with that class that it is embedded into. All right, we're nearing the end. So as you have heard on the scholarship front, The numbers that are here talk about the national InVEST scholarships that have been awarded to high school seniors that participate in the InVEST program and that have that desire and plan to pursue an insurance career, whether that is going to be working immediately in an agency or a company, or if it's going on to a 2 or 4 year college track where they will study something insurance related and hopefully find a job in the industry. 100% of the scholarship money that is raised nationally goes to those students that are awarded scholarships. This past school year for 2020 to 2021, National InVEST awarded $25,000 to students. It was awarded to 5 students, so each of the winners got $5,000 to apply towards their higher education in the state or university system. And then when you look back over the 10 years, $500,000 has been awarded by InVEST nationally. So over $500,000 to InVEST students over the past 10 years, which is just fantastic that we are able on the national level to support that many students with that high of dollar amount for their continued learning, whether it is going right into an agency or company or going on to a college to study insurance related careers. Also, as Deborah stated and mentioned, our Florida Association of Insurance Agents, FAIA, who's bringing you this webinar today. There are scholarships for our InVEST students right here in Florida that are available. And then most of our high schools that have InVEST there also have some sort of local scholarship that is sponsored by those insurance professionals that help in that high school. So there may be local scholarship money available for our InVEST students additionally. Wanted to just do some little celebratory for this past school year and some of our InVEST students in Florida that have had success on the scholarship front. As we mentioned, National InVEST gave away 5 $5,000 scholarships throughout the whole country. We were very fortunate to have one of the 5 winners from Boone High School, which is located in the Orlando area. They have been doing InVEST for many, many years and kind of just took out a little snippet of one of the students, Bailey Daniel, who won that national scholarship, kind of just his thoughts on InVEST and how he does plan to pursue a degree in finance, but then will be working hopefully in the insurance industry after that. At FAIA, the scholarship winners for InVEST, of course, came from Florida schools because only Florida high schools can participate in that. But we have awarded 3 winners ranging from $2,000 to $1,500 to $1,000. The first place winner was from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas over on the east coast of Florida. And then our second and third place were from Northeast High in the St. Pete area. And then as we mentioned, our local InVEST winners, scholarships are usually awarded locally, which is either supported by a group of insurance professionals that volunteer with that high school. Sometimes we see local insurance associations that support those dollars as well for the local InVEST winners and the local high schools in that area.
Let me mention what Deborah said earlier, that if there are high school students that say, you know, college is not my thing, I'm not going, I want to get straight into the workforce, but they are interested in getting into the insurance field in an agency, they can apply and we'll pay for their licensing. And that could save them $700-800 because the material and the schooling that's needed to get the license, it's a big chunk of money. So they could also apply for that if they're not going to college. It's not just college. So keep that in mind.
Good point. And thank you both from the state and national level. Those are just such great opportunities for those high school students that, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure that many of their regular courses in high school or even their other electives that they're taking on a daily basis are providing them with this opportunity to earn money, to jumpstart a career or to continue your education at the college level. So the support there is fantastic by the local areas, the state through FAIA, and also through national. All right, so just got a few more slides for you, and the rest of the time will just be some testimonials that we have gathered from a few of our InVEST teachers, InVEST volunteer, and then some of our national board members as well. As I mentioned, if we were doing this in person, we typically have invited some of these people to give a brief presentation on like their role within InVEST, how they may implement InVEST in their high school, but just to really kind of share and celebrate why they are involved with InVEST and why they continue to be involved with InVEST. So even though we weren't doing this in person, I still thought and felt that it would be very valuable to kind of hear from some of those InVEST players, not only throughout the state of Florida, but on a national level, just to share with us on the webinar as well. So you can see it in front of you, but I'm going to go ahead and read each of them, just depending on what way you may be viewing the webinar. But our first comes from an InVEST teacher. Sharon Cutler is with Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High. She has been teaching InVEST for many, many years, 10 plus years, and has great success with her students from just getting insurance jobs and winning scholarships as well. So Sharon states, I love the InVEST program, but more importantly, my students enjoy the InVEST program. The InVEST program has given my students an opportunity to learn about the many careers the insurance industry offers, while also giving them the tools they will need to determine their own insurance needs. My students have used the info they learned from the many guest speakers in the classroom to initiate discussions with their own parents on the ins and outs of the many different insurance products. This program allows for the flexibility of how each teacher uses the program for their students in classroom. No 2 years have been the same, and each teacher can fit the program to their needs. In addition, this program has allowed the opportunity for my students to earn over $100,000 in the past 10 years in InVEST scholarships from the local, state, and national InVEST scholarship programs. And as mentioned, Sharon's been teaching this for many years. She does run it through one of her classes, and she is part of the Academy of Finance, which is really where we do find a lot of our InVEST programs throughout academies in the high school level.
Hey, Lindsay, when you get to Nicole, unmute her.
Okay.
We'll have her talk live.
Perfect.
Even if she reads her comments,
yes,
it can be a live reading.
I like it. Okay, well, Nicole is next, so I'll advance the slide and then I will unmute you.
Hey, Nicole, thanks for joining us. Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, Nicole. And Nicole has been an outstanding part of the insurance industry in Florida, and we just thank you for all you do for the InVEST program, Nicole. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Nicole, just you're such a great story, and to really see it come full circle from being the InVEST student to then doing that internship and then staying on full time and getting the proper education and licensing, so you could just continue to enhance your career at the agency, and then even beyond that to now give back and be involved with InVEST that has allowed you that career. It's just so incredible to hear, and just the experiences that you can then bring into the InVEST classroom, because not only were you in their seats at one point, but now you're working in the industry as well. So thank you for all that you currently do and have done for InVEST in your area, and I know that just gets its way throughout the state as well for all the high schools and students.
Yes, thank you, Nicole.
All right. Last couple slides we have are from some of our national board members. I had, in talking with Deborah, had asked if a couple of them might be able just to kind of give their thoughts and feedback on why their company supports InVEST, and then also why they support it and kind of what they get out of their experience. And very fortunate that the ones that we did hear back from have been very involved with InVEST in their local areas as well. So they get to see it firsthand at the high school, and then also behind the scenes, if you will, by serving as a national board member.
And the teachers out there that don't live insurance every day, State Auto, of course, is an insurance company. They are a national insurance company, but they also do business in Florida. And when we say independent agents, that means they represent multiple different insurance companies, and this is one of the companies that they may represent, and they're heavily involved with the InVEST program. So that's what, when you say an insurance company, it's because an independent agent represents them and they sell their products. So go ahead, Lindsay.
Yes, no, thank you. Good point to add in. So Erica, one of our national board members, has been on the board for many years and helps with some of the high schools in her area, has mentioned that working with Project InVEST is always a mutually rewarding experience. From the students' perspective, they get an opportunity to get a firsthand glimpse of real people in the industry to assist them in making future wise consumer and career decisions. From a volunteer perspective, I get the opportunity to meet, to learn from, and to encourage future business and community leaders while playing an invaluable role in shaping the diverse future face of our industry. It doesn't get much better than that. So we thank Erica for her comments and involvement. Peter, who is one of our national board members and has been serving and working with InVEST since I was a student way back in the day, shared his thoughts as well as to why he still is involved by saying that serving on the InVEST board is a joy for me. I'm so impressed with the energy of this organization. Independent insurance agencies offer a lot of relevance to emerging workers: flexibility, commitment to local community, and a stable, resilient industry. I want us to be loud and proud about this. The insurance industry is a rocket ship of opportunity for young people. So great comments there. And it definitely is that resilient industry. I know I was talking with a high school recently that in the midst of the craziness that has been happening over the past year and a half, most insurance jobs were still there and people were still able to work a little bit different environment than what we had been used to, but definitely that stable industry where employment has been able to keep on going. Connie recently retired from her role in insurance, but has been a longtime board member and very involved in the insurance community in the area in which she lives. She's in the Ohio area. So Connie has stated that serving as a member of the InVEST board was one of the most rewarding experiences of my 36-year insurance career. The collaborative partnership of industry professionals to create awareness of career opportunities in insurance has created an opening to impact the talent gap faced by the industry as individuals retire. InVEST engages with the next generation of talent at the high school and community college level by offering curriculum and volunteers to share the stories of the insurance industry and its value in our local communities and beyond. Offering meaningful scholarships awarded annually allows students to pursue additional education and ultimately a career in insurance and risk management. The InVEST board strategically aligns its efforts with the independent agency system. The development and pilot of the agency apprenticeship program affords new avenues to attract and train career professionals. Sharing ideas, thought leadership, and collaboration with an eye on the future success of the insurance industry is the cornerstone of the InVEST board. And then this is the final testimonial we have. Doug actually works with Vertifor, which is a technology company that works with a lot of our insurance agencies through the independent agency system. So even though he isn't at an agency or a company per se, still very tied into what happens in the insurance industry on more of the IT and technical side. And Doug has shared, as a board member of InVEST, I have the opportunity to hear from educators and students on their positive experience with the program and course curriculum that is provided by the InVEST team. The insurance industry is facing a critical juncture where several key resources will be retiring over the coming years, and we desperately need to educate young people on the benefits of working in this industry. The relationships that InVEST has built in the education community is critical to ensuring that we don't have a labor issue in our industry in the near future. Which couldn't agree more. Definitely need to be out there just telling the story of working in the insurance industry and what a great career option it can be to help fill those gaps in our own agencies or companies, and certainly throughout the areas that we work in as well. All right, and that is a wrap. Brings us to the end of our planned presentation and webinar. Again, want to thank each of you for taking the time to join us this morning. I know whether you're at the education world or the insurance world, we all have very busy schedules. So breaking away from that for a little bit to hear more about InVEST and hopefully excite you for ways that you can be involved in InVEST, whether you're a high school teacher or an insurance professional. We really do appreciate you taking the time to be on this webinar this morning. On the slide that you can see, we do have some email addresses from some of the people that you have heard from this morning. So please feel free to jot those down. Any questions or concerns or things that you just want to run by, you're not sure, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us that are on that slide, whether it's one or all. We can certainly jump in and help answer those questions or concerns that you might have. And then won't take anybody off mute, but if anybody does have any questions, last minute comments, if you would like to type that in the question box, we'll be sure to address those.
And if you think of something when you get throughout the day or the week, just email myself or Lindsay. We'd be glad to hear from you. And don't forget, we will have this recorded. I'm not an IT guy, so I don't know exactly when it will be up on our website, but it will be on our website. So look forward to that if you want to share that with someone else. Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us today. Nicole, thank you. And Deborah, thank you so much. We hope you have found some interest in the InVEST program that you didn't have before. And we look forward to working with each and every one of you. So thank you, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you.